I've been, I got my start in Harvard Square in the 80s, playing in the streets of Harvard Square. I got the title of busker. I still don't know what it means. But I've been playing in the streets for many, many decades, on the subways in the winter. And then, since my name is Giancarlo Buscaglia, although I'm very Puerto Rican, I got work in Italian restaurants. From table to table. So I just wouldn't talk. I let the other guy, the mandolin player, do the talking. He was from San Donato. It's a little music from my homeland, Dorchester.
Desde las ondas del mar, que son besos a su orilla, una mujer de Aguadilla vino a New York a cantar, pero no solo a llorar, un largo llanto y morir, de ese llanto yo nací. Como en la lluvia una fiera y vivo en la larga espera de cobrar lo que perdí. Por un cielo que se hacía más ancho, más volado, a Nueva York se acercaba un peón de las Marías, con la esperanza y decía de un largo día volver, pero antes me hizo nacer. Y de tanto trabajar se quedó sin regresar, reventó en un taller. De una lágrima soy hijo, y soy hijo del sudor, y fue mi abuelo un amor único en mi regocijo. Del recuerdo siempre fijo, en aquel cristal del llanto, como quimera en el canto de un Puerto Rico de ensueño. Y yo soy puertorriqueño sin nada, pero sin quebranto. Al hecho que me desmienta, que sean de muy derecho, no saquen lo más estrecho de un San Juan como este que está aquí atrás, pague la cuenta, pues según alguien me cuenta, dicen que la luna es una, sea del mar o sea montuna. Así le grito al villano, yo sería borincano que naciera en la luna. Y así le grito al villano, yo sería borincano aunque naciera en la luna.
So we're amongst poets. That's from a very famous poet from Puerto Rico, Juan Antonio Corredher, gave this beautiful song to Roy Brown, a very good friend of his, musician, and he put it into music. Fast, slow, melancholic, depressing, like my career in Providence. What would you like to hear?
Dale algo ligerito.
Okay, I got this. I'm 58, easy.
Don't brag, I'm 71.
Hey,
Y está pidiendo algo rápido, so.
there's lower back problems. I can't do el reggaeton. I got this.
No lejos de mí quiera penar el corazón, yo entonces de mí recordaré de tu vivir. Tu inmersión que fue canto de amor, himno de paz. Ya no habrá entonces dolor, solo será felicidad. Cuando lejos de ti quiera penar el corazón, yo entonces de mí recordaré de tu vivir. Tu inmersión que fue canto de amor, himno de paz. Ya no entonces dolor, solo será felicidad. No, no, te digo un adiós, estrellita del sur, porque pronto estaré a tu lado otra vez y de nuevo sentiré tu fragancia sutil. Campanas de bonanza repicarán mi corazón. No, no, te digo un adiós, estrellita del sur, porque pronto estaré a tu lado otra vez y de nuevo sentir tu fragancia sutil. Campanas de bonanza repicarán mi corazón.
gracias, muchas gracias.
Yo sé que siempre dudas de mi amor y no te culpo. Y sé que no has logrado hacer de mi querer lo que tu amor soña. Yo sé que fue muy grande la ilusión que en mí tú te forjaste para luego encontrar desconfianza y frialdad en mi querer. Comprende que mi amor burlado fue ya tantas veces, como 5 o 6, que se ha quedado al fin mi pobre corazón con tan poquita fe. Me tienes que ayudar a conseguir la fe que con engaños yo perdí. Me tienes que enseñar de nuevo a amar y a perdonar, también a cocinar y un poco a organizar esos piles que tengo en la gaveta. Paga las cuentas a tiempo.
Muchas gracias. You're very kind. Thank you so much.
So this is basically, it's almost like my prayer for the library. I call it, I stand with the band. And may we always love and protect our free libraries. My hair is 50 shades of gray. And I want to go tell it on the mountain. I want life to be between the world and me. I remember being the kite runner on my block, and a certain black boy, the neighborhood's native son, who reminded me of Malcolm X except for having the bluest eye. Made me shy, he was so beautiful, that I felt like I was inside the glass castle of my anxiety, wearing my captain underpants. I thought, maybe a bad boy can be good for a good girl. Even though he wasn't bad at all, it's just that the sweetest fruit is forbidden. I was all goosebumps like two boys kissing. My body was the kingdom of little wombs. Suddenly the clouds were the color of earth, and there was a thunder in the sky. My girlfriends were extremely loud and incredibly close. My bestie was my beloved and a shameless woman. She was a bad kitty. And sometimes hung out with a dirty cowboy who wanted to kill a mockingbird. And she warned him he'd be one of the fallen angels instead of a prince and a knight. She had my back always, even in the Hunger Games. She told me it was perfectly normal to speak and delight on this day in June, and that sex is a funny word. As we reeled the kite back to safety, we ran to the library on Mango Street, perfecting the art of racing in the rain. It was all so beautiful as the librarian welcomed us into the house of spirits. I turned the color purple when I saw the boy with the bluest eye was there, with a stack of science books so deep into his reading, I had to find a brave new world within me. I went up to him and I asked if he knew that we are all made of molecules. What my mother doesn't know, I thought. This was indeed a year of wonders. How many of you recognized all those titles of banned books? And now, mi amigo y yo, because you know, we're all family. You go back far enough.
That's true.
We're connected. You're my brother. You're my family. I got some cousins in here. Some cute ones right there. So I'm going to start with this piece called Madre de Bomba. And we're going to do it together. And how many of you knew your grandmother? Well, another Bill. How many of you knew two grandmothers? Any more than that? Yeah. Well, I never knew my grandmothers, so I invented one. And she is called Madre de Bomba, because sometimes we have to invent our memories. Oh. Oh. If I had an abuela, she would have fangs, X-ray vision for men who make false promises, and a special tea to make them true to their word, refilling their cup until she is satisfied. If I had an abuela, she would carve dragon heads into her rocking chair that come alive when she is angry, sending fire into the places where she wasn't and away from where she doesn't. My abuela would dance naked at the Hunts Point Market in front of the cherries that would spill their juice at the sight of her. No one would dare to call the cops. I assure you someone would carry her basket of chautilla up 6 flights to her apartment. Thick-skinned roots multiplying in her boiling pots of Boricua kitchen generosity. My abuela would keep a machete by the door. Ah, see, a rosary in the pocket of her bata. Muggers would drop dead from a look. And just in case that didn't work, there would always be a live mousetrap in the pocket of her pot. For rapists, bullets in her nostrils, cobras in her ears, a camphorated river layered in her breath, had them in her tears of rage to suck dry even the thought of raising a hand to her. My abuela would have mule legs, kicking open the smarmy face of injustice. Oh yeah, my abuela would not be polite if there's too much salt in the bacalao, and leave the table if there's not enough. My abuela would love Motown as much as Loisa. Swing from the branches between Boric and Ibuba. Tell you about blackness as you stretch. Iron. Bleach your hair into submission. Offering you the cigar of intelligence. Give you another chance. But not too many. Fools belong to worms. She would say this as she would sink her fangs deep into your heart until there is room for light and music to enter. Penetrar. Ay, sí. Penetrar, 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 until you are satisfied. Abuela would be the mother of our bomba. Histories, clean ocean, in which I would have drowned. Thank you. That's our first time ever working together. We only rehearsed for like 30 seconds.
Don't tell them.
I want them to know. I want them to know. I'm all about transparency. Shall we do Federico? ¿Qué te parece? Y después yo cojo un brequecito y tú toco. Así está la cosa. Okay. See, when you put this on the television, then the Latinos here in Southbridge will know que aquí hay boricua.
Pues claro que sí.
Que aquí hay latinos. Y que no todos los latinos son iguales. Somos de muchas culturas, muchos dialectos, hasta muchos idiomas, porque tenemos idiomas indígenas también. And nobody translated ever for my mother, so I'm not going to. So this is from my autobiography, Mija, and it's a hybrid book, and it's prose and dreams. I kept a 35-year dream journal, and I put some of them here, unabridged, just as I wrote them from the dream world, and poems. So I'm going to read you one of the poems that I wrote to Federico Garcia Lorca. And I'm sure everyone here knows who Federico is, and I just want to tell you a little bit about him in terms of who I am, because my mother was Boricua and my father Gitano. Federico Garcia Lorca was among the greatest and most influential anti-fascist poets and playwrights to come out of Andalusia, Spain, and anywhere for that matter. He was a friend of my father's people, Los Gitanos, the Roma. He saw us as human. Unlike Franco's fascist regime at the time, unlike the German Nazis who slaughtered our European ancestors in their camps, they couldn't figure out on which piles of bodies to throw us. They made us wear the brown or the black triangle. They sterilized us. Many today mimic us on Halloween. Oh, look at the gypsy. When I told someone I'm a Romani, can you read my palm? It happens all the time. Or if I say I'm Roma, they say, oh, you're Italian. Hey, I can work in the restaurant. I just have to say I'm Roma.
Gigs this week.
But you know, the way that people speak about us, it's like we cease to exist. The same thing that is done to the indigenous people of this nation. In fact, if you are not an indigenous person of this country, then you know you're an immigrant. So here we are in Massachusetts, and there's some deep and generationally traumatized and assimilated Gitanos here who don't know who we are or where we came from. So I thank you, Federico Garcia Lorca, for putting flesh and blood onto the cartoons into which we were and have been made. All of us in this room, all of us watching, all of us listening. No matter where we came from, who we are, what our ancestry is, we must refuse to have our history or our legacy or our people erased. For Federico Garcia Lorca. His remains were never found. I have found them over and over again in my dreams, hidden within a steeple where a rooster's crow has replaced the bells. He is a fistful of gold dust, a bow tie, a bloody quill. I hear a step on a loose board. I turn. He kisses my mouth, and I always wake up before finding my tongue. And before I can swear that it's really him. Dear Federico. Men following orders ended your flesh in fields of fallen bluebirds, who, like you, swallowed a great evil, so the people might believe that good is possible. May it give you solace to know you saved this life. Your hand on mine, holding the knife that had vowed to bleed out the sadness, the needle to suture light into flesh, making beauty of scars. Your lessons to gut my worthless faith in humanity, instead fuse my bones with the sea for the suckling of forgotten fish. You, Federico, are my faith. What do I care that you love men? I am neither man nor woman. You could love me. As these words arrive, I find courage to step beyond dreams. You, Federico, you, your courage, my black quill of a dawn that rewrites as ululations rise from these fingers, now tongues. Mis nuevas lenguas. I'm giving it to you. You have beautiful audience. You're so pleasant. Bellezas. I'm going to sit.
A little something from Cuba.
I see. I think I better stand up for this one. I may need to move.
I sit for this one to make sure I don't dance. Lower back problems.
Las miradas de tus ojos son tan sutiles que penetran hasta el alma de quien las mire. Y como soles irresistibles son sus destellos, que no pueden no mirarse en ellos. Que no puedo no mirarse en ellos. Las miradas de tus ojos son tan sutiles que penetran hasta el alma de quien las mire. Y como soles irresistibles son sus destellos, que no puedo no mirarse en ellos. Que no puedo no mirarse en ellos. Como sabes, tus miradas tienen hechizo, miras con imprudencia y maleficio. No me mires a los ojos porque no quiero que tu mirada penetrante me deje ciego. Que tu mirar penetrante me deje ciego. No me mires con esos ojos, no quiero ciego quedar. No me mires con esos ojos, no quiero ciego quedar. Ay, 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 linda cubana, Ay, 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 que por engañar no me mires con esos ojos. Yeah.
Muchas gracias. I used to play down the street from here. What's it called? Go and Go, the restaurant?
Yes.
Beautiful restaurant, muy chévere.
Okay, you
Oh
just
my
made
God,
me
there you are.
I used to work.
Flashbacks.
We used to work there.
We worked together.
Do you have a poem to read?
Of course.
So when we were coming by, we were on the way here. I just hear a little bit of your point about your grandma, and so I remember this Luis Pales Matos poem. He's a Puerto Rican poet. I don't know too much about his biography because that's what happened when you live in the colonialism. You lose track of your own history and try
That's
to.
why we fight for our libraries.
Oh yeah.
Right, yes.
So that's why we fight, because we need libraries, we need education, we need free education, because we cannot lose our culture in the surviving the today's world with all the consumerism and etc. etc. So bringing back the situation over here, I'm gonna be reading to you, trying to interpret for the first time in my whole life, Majestad Negra. Maestro. Por la encendida calle antillana, bate bandumba de la quimbamba, rumba macumba macombe, bamba, bámbula, entre dos filas de negras caras. Ante ella, un gongó y maracas. Ritmo una conga bomba que bamba, ritma una conga bomba que bamba, culipandeando. La reina avanza y de su inmensa grupa resbalan meneos cachondos. Que se me pierde. Meneos cachondos que el Congo cuaja. En ríos de azúcar y de melaza, prieto tapiche de sensual zafra. El calderamen, masa con masa, exprime ritmos, suda que sangra, y la molienda culmina en danza por la encendida calle antillana, baten bandumba de la quimbamba. Flor de tórtola, rosa de Uganda, por ti crepitan bombas y bámbulas, por ti en calendas desenfrenadas, quema la antilla su sangre ñáñiga, fogosos rones te da Jamaica. Haití te ofrece sus calabazas y Puerto Rico melao melamba mis colocos de negras caras. Tronad tambores, vibrad maracas, por la encendida calle antillana, rumba, macumbe, candombe, bámbula, baten bandumba de la quimbamba.
Tremendo.
Her first time doing that.
All right. This one is called Poderosa, and it was from an event from Ella, Empowering Latina Leaders Affirmation, that I was blessed to be awarded with 12 other Latinas this award, and I was among some incredible community activists and women leaders, and a few came with me who are here, and Chamita was there as well. And so this is the poem I wrote for that event.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Poderosa. Voices rising, do not be silent. Poderosa, like Mama Chu, who woke up every day to feed chickens and tend the garden at age 100. I noticed as a child, we had the same hands. Hands for helping, hands for healing. Poderosa, like Abuela Candida. Storyteller. I learned so many lessons listening at the foot of her bed. Poderosa, like Abuela Juana. Caretaker, grounded, Mother Earth. Braver than all the men as she saved me, stomping out the tarantula under my bare feet. Poderosa, like my mother, a survivor, resilient, small and mighty. Poderosa, like my sisters, Brenda, wise beyond her years, Janet, a force to be reckoned with. Poderosa, ancestors speak through me. Hahan katu, tainote, bomba. I feel their rhythm in my steps. La sangre en mis venas llamándome. Borinquen. Poderosa. Ellas, yo. Mind, body, soul. Mother, writer, healer, community leader. My purpose says lift their voices. I stand up and shout, Poderosa. Soy borinqueña, aunque me digan salvaje. La sangre en mis venas me llama a la tierra de mis sueños, donde el coquí me canta por las noches y el gallo me levanta con el sol. Mi isla del encanto, la tierra de mis abuelos, la patria en mi corazón. What are you? I remember someone asking me that when I was a journalism student at Michigan State. I'm not sure what I responded, but I do remember looking at the person, puzzled. They clarified and asked about my ethnicity. I don't think there were many Puerto Ricans living in Michigan in 1989. I'm not sure how many live there now. I've always felt like an outsider when I go out into the world. Even as a kid growing up in Southbridge, I was the only curly-haired girl in 5th grade class at Charlton Street School. Some of the kids didn't know what to make of me. They would just keep telling me how different I was. When I asked them why they thought I was different, they couldn't really answer. They just mentioned my hair. I thought they were jealous because I was smarter than them. It made the awkwardness of not fitting in feel better. I acted like I didn't care, but I really did. In my mind, I was my favorite character from Nancy Drew, solving mysteries, making the Hardy Boys look like amateurs. I think about that question what are you? I am Jasmine Rivas. Jasmine Rivas Ortiz en Puerto Rico. Soy puertorriqueña y americana. I have light skin like my father and curly kinky hair like my mom. As an American, I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. As a Puerto Rican, I wave the Puerto Rican flag proudly. I am fluent in Spanglish and moving my hips. Okay, this one I wrote when I was a student at Worcester State. In 1909, the U.S. appointed Commissioner of Public Instruction in Puerto Rico decreed that Spanish was forbidden in all public schools and that everyone, teachers and students, could be disciplined for violating the rules. In 2007, Worcester State tried to deny me access to graduation because a computer failed to acknowledge my fluency in my native tongue. No access, you say? Don't test me, cabrones. Es mi lengua. I don't need your system to tell me who I am. I'm from Puerto Rico, Isla del Encanto, por si no lo sabían. ¿Quieren la historia? Olvídate de Cristóbal, el que nos robó y enfermó. Hablo de los taínos, Pedro Albizu Campos, los nacionalistas y la revolución. No jueguen conmigo. ¿Conocen el morro? Los estoy mirando a través del ojo del cañón. Look at me. I can conjugate verbs. Ando, andas, andabas. Yo ando los pasos de mi abuelita en la tierra donde nació. Es mi lengua. Born in the USA, heart from Borinquen. Mi isla, la patria que me engendró. No access? This is mierda. The gringa who barely speaks English passes on to become a teacher must have been all the ways she used like, or like. But a bilingual, we say no. This is mierda. Maybe like, como, coma, coman, mierda. Do you understand, pendejos?
How many of you understand Spanish? Okay, how many? Those of you who don't, right? You could still feel it, right? Yeah, I love listening to languages that I don't know because I have to enter them more deeply. So this poem is from my book, Shameless Woman, Mujer Sin Vergüenza, Why I Became a Loud Puerto Rican and Other Impolite Stories. Now, this is about a particular library in Holyoke, Massachusetts, where it is a very huge population of Boricuas. I would say, 85%, at least in the schools, maybe even more in the schools. And when I went to the library, when I was a teacher there, I was a teaching artist in the schools, I couldn't find any books by or about Boricuas. And so that inspired this poem. Because not all libraries are created equal. But this one, está bueno. Right? This is a good library. Protect it, fight for it, love it. In the library, I found my people on dusty bottom shelves. But I find them. History disappears like cotton candy on the tongue. If I don't tell my story, someone else will tell it for me. Boricua, do you know that your blood jumps and pumps djembe, keeps time to the rhythm of chains? Do you know the blood of Africa runs through our sugar cane? Do you know the sharp edge of el machete, like your finger knows the soft edges of your lover? Do you know that you are Indio? That Boriquen means land of the brave and noble lord. Boriquen, word of spirit. Puerto Rico, rich port. Avarice, the second beheading of San Juan Bautista. Boricua, do you know why Lolita loaded her gun? Do you know Don Pedro defended our right to freedom, to independence in 7 languages from the halls of Harvard and was silenced in every one? Did you ever start a conversation in Spanish and then switch to English? In an elevator, in a store, on a bus, on a train, because you felt a secret shame, a fear that someone might infer that you no speak English? Your story spun into, mira, mira, hot-blooded Latin. No pique English, cuchi, cuchi, cucharacha, cucaracha, cucaracha. Jose Jimenez, Gogo González, Gogo González, Gogo González, Gogo González, me cago en nada. Turn us into cartoon buffoons, that assault that keeps us drowning between islands. That used to be me. Lying to myself in perfect English, denying who I am in perfect English, trading my tostones for Twinkies, my pernil for White Castle, my bomba plena for top 10 in perfect English. My body, my history, my ancestry, my literature, my power, my people, la curandera, los guarapos, los tabaqueros, la finca, los montes, la religión, la música del tambor, la escopeta, el machete, el grito del Ares. My people, I walked away from you in perfect English, denying who I am in perfect English. I left you on the dirty, dusty bottom shelf. But I have found you. I have found you in English, in Spanish, in Spanglish, with palabra indígena and Nigerian inflection, clave y castañuela. Translingual connection. Santa Bárbara of the white face, beneath your womanly vestment a cauterized muscle of defiant blackness throbs against daybreak. Orb and lingam, chain and crucifix survive the middle passage. Petroglyph carved deep into bone. I take my people back. I take my language back. Back to the Bembe, back to the Gandinga, back to the Choreto, back to the Piragua, back to the Jicoteo, back to the Yaya, back to the Burundanga, back to the Burundanga, back to the Burundanga, back to the Burundanga. Of all that I am, of all that you are, of all that we are and will be forever. Amen. Hashem. I take my Taína Africana history back. I take my Taína Africana blood back. I take my literature back. I take my music back. I take my island back. And I pray the Orishas take me back. History bound in blood and leather. I place you on the shelf that meets the world between the eyes. I stack you in my arms, on my back. I make of you a bridge between islands. I march, singing your name in all of my languages, because I am a love. Puerto Rican. And I thank you, Estados Unidos, for all of your insults. They have become my poems. Thank you.
As we know, this is an impromptu event, and we have Christine now coming to the microphone who is going to read her poem.
Soy puertorriqueña. For those of you who deign to think that it's not okay to speak another lingua in this light-filled, bite-filled, lyrically filled, that means I'm from Puerto Rico. Uh-oh! I can hear them now, whisperings, murmurings, in this lily, curly-headed town with their own background. What else is she? Well, I'll tell you. I'm fat. Not round, not rotund, not spun out softly like the Pillsbury Doughboy's bun. I'm coarse. In my language, read her speech. I preach a conversational type of many of my ethnic skins. Come to me with any kind of critique, all you hovering masses of inconsiderate fascists, and I will meet your doubts with deepness. I smoke, I drink, margaritas lately are my thing, and I work in a man's world. Cars, and more cars. I drive them, prime them, get other poor souls to buy them. And all the while, my soul hasn't seen the glory of God. But no matter. For though I'm blacker than I wanted to be, blacker than my mama thought I would be, I am prouder than the ones who made me. Why? Because I am an islander and an American and a woman. Soy puertorriqueña in this still divided union.
This was a wonderful presentation this evening. I would like to remind people why we actually were able to gather here this evening. This was a grant-funded program thanks to the Library of America, who made this wonderful publication, which is called Latino Poetry. It is published by the Library of America, and it is edited by Rigoberto Gonzalez. So this book is available in the library if anybody is interested in borrowing it. And I just wanted to say how wonderful it was to have two programs that we presented since January to our community. And I'd like to think that we can do some more like this. I loved the spontaneity this evening. It was such a nice surprise to see people coming and reading their poetry. And obviously we have many people in the community who have lots of talents and who could share with us.
Can we give it up for them?
Yes.